to talk about is when you're dealing with digestion, you must know this is what you must know. You must know about the balanced diet. Okay, for chapter 7, you must know about the balanced diet. Then you must know about what we call the digestive system. Everybody should know what is the digestive system. So I'll re-explain to you and show you what the digestive system is and how many parts it has. I'll put it right now. It has 11 parts. It has 11 parts. The digestive system. Then you must know about enzymes. Okay? Then, after you know enzymes, what enzymes work in digestion? Pepsin, trypsin, where is it found? How does it behave? All this stuff, you should know enzymes. Then finally, you should know the last part, which is absorption. So, I want you to write absorption. Absorption. This is the last one. When you now deal with absorption, is this part of digestion? Yes. Is this the last part? Yes. What are we trying to establish? Well, what you must know is that you should know where absorption happens, what it is, and what are the things that help it to be good inside your body. Absorption is when molecules that are done being digested are now absorbed into the blood. So the movement of digested food into the blood and lymph, this is absorption. Movement of digested food. Now, here the next thing we want to know, since you now know that what the definition is, when anything moves into the blood, it is being absorbed. Now, you should know that absorption that we're about to talk about mostly happens in the small intestines. But in the second part of the small intestines, called the ileum, this is where absorption happens. Okay, small intestines. Let me go to the diagram I showed you. Here. You have the stomach, then you have the small intestines. And here are large. Now, what you must know is that the small intestine, this is where digested food is absorbed. It does not get to large intestines. No. These are for something else. Small intestines, digested food that is needed by the body is taken up at the small intestines. And the second part of the small intestine, because the small intestine is sectioned into two. The first part here will be the duodenum. Then the second part is the ileum. So when you are dealing with your small intestines, where absorption takes place, where things move into the blood, it's in the small intestine. And which part? Mostly in the ileum. Now, what are some of the things that are supposed to be taken into the blood? Huh? Things that enter the blood are glucose and amino acids that are used. Here, these amino acids, you have gotten them from protein that you ate. Protein, beans, milk, all this. And you break it down, you get amino acid. You break down carbohydrates, you get glucose. These things go into the blood. Are we together? Students, are we together? Yes, they go into good. Remember the two things that go into the blood: glucose and amino acids. These are digested. These are digested and they go straight into the blood. Now, at the back of your neck, we have what we call lymph nodes. At the back of the neck. Here. At the back of the neck, we have what we call lymph nodes, right? Do you know them? Do you know lymph nodes that are at the back of the neck? I wish I could show you a picture of just a person's face. Like this. At the back here, that's where you have the lymph. That's where you have the lymph nodes. Are we together? And there's actually more than one thing that are the things that are brought together to form what they will now call a lymphatic system. You're going to have some lymphs in your muscles, some lymphs in your whatever. Right. Now, what you must know is this, okay? Lymphatic vessels and stuff. What will enter the lymph instead of the blood will be fatty acids and glycerol. Okay? Fatty acids and glycerol. Now, these things are choosing. Some is going into the blood. Fatty acids and glycerol, we are going to have these are from fats. You break down lipids or fats, you get two things: fatty acids and glycerol. Now, these things go into the lymph through what? The villi. So, what you must know for digestion is for absorption is generally what it is. What is absorption? It is when digested nutrients or food molecules enter the blood. Move into the blood. What moves into the blood? Glucose and amino acids. Glucose and amino acids. What about fatty acids and glycerol? These go into the lymphatic system. Now we're going to see how they do it like this. The lymphatic system is all over. But now, what you must know is that all these things are being absorbed and getting into the body, but they are doing it in one place called the ileum. The ileum of the small intestines. So now, the small intestines have the first part called duodenum and the second part called ileum. And in the ileum, this is where absorptions take place? Yes. Now, why? What is so special here? What happens in the ileum? The second part of your small intestine, the last part, just before you get to the large intestines. What happens? What does the ileum have? It has villi. This is the special thing that is used to absorb. Villi is what you are seeing here. These are the walls of the small intestine. So the small intestine will be like this. And in the walls, this is what you have. Villi. 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 Villi would be things that look like fingers These are your villi. So the ileum has villi. Now, what I want you to know is that this diagram is not perfect. There's something it has made a mistake on. It is what does the villi look like. The villi also now has some small things going around it like this. And this is what we call microvilli. It will be like this. And this is what we call microvilli. And you will talk about it as well. So villi is finger-like projections that are on the walls of your small intestines. This is villi. Now, on each villi, there are tiny, tiny projections on each, which you call microvilli. Are we together? Now, these villi, these finger-like projections, are the reason why the ileum is the best at absorption. It has these villi, finger-like projections, finger-like projections that increase the surface area. Look, instead of just the wall, a flat place, bumping, you now have things like this. For water to come. Right. So here we say that it has ileum. The it has villi rather. The ileum has villi. And villi increase the surface area. When you have a flat surface, there is not much. It's only here. But when you have projections, the whole thing. So here you're going to now write, what are the things that microvilli has? That villi has. Villi is the finger-like projections. What you are seeing here. What is so special about it that will make it be very useful in the ileum? It has many villi. The ileum has many villi on its walls. You should know 5 things that go on that make sure absorption happens nicely. You have villi and microvilli. Villi is there for large surface area and also for microvilli to make smaller ones like this. Here we have a 1 cell thick wall. Where is it? On the ileum. The wall of the ileum is only made by 1 cell. If you say something is 1 cell thick, it means it's so thin. It's tiny. It only has 1 cell. And this is so that the nutrients that are being absorbed can move by diffusion. Now, next. So if they ask you, what does the ileum have? That for absorption, adaptations. It has many villi to increase the surface area and also microvilli on each villi to increase the surface area. And the wall is only 1 cell thick. Here now, put the last two. Say it is many villi, microvilli. The wall is 1 cell thick. You should say it. I want you to focus on this part. Letty and everybody in class, listen. When you are a student, what happens is when you get to the hard parts, the real parts, you lose interest or get tired. And you say, at least I know what absorption is and stuff. No! It doesn't help us to know what absorption is, what goes into the blood and whatever. What we must know is just this part. This is the table to know. For you to say you know absorption, this is the table you must know. The 5 adaptations of absorption, of ileum for absorption. It has many villi. It has microvilli. The wall is 1 cell thick. The blood supply here is rich. So here it has a rich blood supply and it has what we call lacteal. I'll show you a diagram of lacteal, I'll show you a diagram of lacteal, but what I want you to know is many villi plus microvilli, which we said it is here. It is like this. Smaller villi found on each villi. And what do? Increase surface area. 1 cell thick makes it easy for nutrients to diffuse because the distance will be short. Rich blood supply here. Rich blood supply. What will happen if there's a rich blood supply? Then you are going to have the blood having so many nutrients and they'll start coming out. The blood must be rich of nutrients so that the nutrients will come here. Or we can say the blood must be, let's say, here's your tube. This is the tube where food moves in. We call it the alimentary canal. It's now at small intestines. It's at the ileum. So here you'll be having so many blood vessels, like here. So many blood vessels coming. Red, blue, all this coming. So this rich blood supply is going to, rich blood supply means there's a lot of blood. You're going to have a lot of nutrients being able to move because the blood is always there. And the nutrients move into the blood like this. That's what it is. Then lacteal is the last thing. Lacteal is going to be there to absorb fatty acids and glycerol. These are things found on the small intestines. You write them many, many times. It is the wall is 1 cell thick. There is a very good supply of blood. So it's easy for nutrients to move into the blood because there's a very good supply. The ileum has lacteal. The ileum has, you can go and check it to say lacteal. The ileum has lacteal. What is that? It is a part which absorbs fatty acids and glycerol. And that lacteal, you are going to be, if you look in here, like if you see this thing here, should say here, this is my, the most inside one is not the lacteal, but there's a smaller inside part which we will call the lacteal. So when you look inside your villi, you see a lacteal, which is there to absorb. Absorb what, sir? It is there to absorb your fatty acids and glycerol. And it's in villi. And this is in the ileum. Right. You should know the 5 adaptations and you'll be done. Then now we'll talk about enzymes. And we'll now go to the last part and finish it up. Who has a question? Anyone with a question? Okay. I'll give you some questions on absorption for you to prove, and a few questions on writing the Pythagoras theorem tonight. Let me do it right now. And I need you to quickly submit it before you go to bed, right? Okay. You're dismissed.